Alright. So, it's not going to be too big of a job to try to figure out what I'm doing here. As long as I have a place to put this for a minute. That's not going to work. I'll just set you here. I don't have the legs down, so this may want to pop up on me. Perfect case. Or put this up here. But if this ever came back to me, the shape that it's in, these people would never get it together. And I'm going to tell you, right down to the straps. I'll show you now. Since I get this all done. And some of this is from people like commanders, vice commanders. Really? If you really think about it. That's what I was afraid of. Because they just don't pay attention. They don't care. They really don't. I don't know how they don't get written up. Really. They don't even know how to hang a fender. And that's sad. I don't know if this is going to fit in here or not. The measurements say it will. It's one of those things to where they break something. Little things. And instead of writing a report on it, they try to cover it. Now this is something that's minor. The rope broke. The line. And what they did was they just, instead of putting another one on there or telling somebody, they decided to tie it all up, not thinking about it fitting around the cleat. Hello? Well, it doesn't fit. So what do? They hang it on like that, and that's going to work. So as they're driving around with this thing on an asphalt driveway or whatever, the thing is vibrating, and this ends up falling off. And then what? Oh, okay. Mr. Stupid just lost something. You know, they all want to play, but none of them want to pay. Well, pay attention. I was the vice commander for a while, and I just said I'm done with it, with being a vice. I was not going to be in charge of a bunch of village idiots. Because I'll tell you what, if I had stayed, a lot of them would have left. Because they want military. But they don't want military. Oh yeah, we don't want the discipline. We just want to play. We want to say that we are. We want to hold that ID. Well, if I have my way, you can hold in your hand. Now, I'm not saying that you got to get involved. But if you get involved, do your job. Don't get involved and make it harder for somebody else. Because they got to do your job and theirs. And then at the end of the day, they say, well, Frank and Henry did a fine job. Well, meanwhile, Frank has been taking care of Henry all the time. Because Henry did nothing. But he got the credit for it. And Frank is not the kind of guy that's going to say, listen, he didn't do anything. So he kind of lets him get away with it. Now, what am I doing now? I'm going to tell you. As soon as I get my big hands in here, if I can reach it, this is a perfect example. Hold on, I'm still working on it here. Nose is running. That's because it's cold out. Well, I'm thinking that's what it is anyway. Alright, I'm going to have to cut the rest of it off. The light is turned, speaker in it, it talks, it's got a horn, it's got remote. It's not a cheap piece, it's not a toy. Well, guess what happens? Just tends to waddle a little bit. Well, instead of somebody saying, oh here, let me tighten up the screws, look at how far they're sticking out. Let me just duct tape it down. Well, because of that, now the holes underneath are starting to crack. So this is only fiberglass. Okay, why should I care? Because you were responsible for it. It's your duty and job to make sure Coastie stays running and looking good because it represents you. There's a few people that joined some time ago. I don't know if they're even still with it or not. They joined the auxiliary because they get an ID with their picture saying United States Coast Guard Auxiliaries, blah, 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 blah. Got the Geneva Convention on, blah, 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 on the back. Yeah, you know what I mean. Convention. You know, so they can't, or they're not supposed to torture you and all that. I mean, it's as close to getting out there and doing what you got to do. So, but, and for the most part, you get discounts. And as soon as they hear, whoa, and they can flash that ID and be somebody when they go to the store, that's what it's all about with some of these people. And then you never see them again. And those are the ones, I'm tripping over a piece of wood on. Let me get this out of there. That's no problem. There we go. And those are the ones that I have problems with. Now, I don't do a lot, but I do. I used to do a lot. We used to do patrols, safety patrols, search and rescues, swim across the sounds, shadowing the ferry when it went back, and forth under hard times. You know, when you have these little blow-ups of the, well, not a little blow-up, but when the towers went down, you know, now the ferry that goes back and forth from Bridgeport to Port Jeff, You know, there's 3 or 4 ferries going back and forth all day. So we would, what they call shadow. We wouldn't escort, we would shadow the ferries and stuff like that. You know, well, if there's a swim across the sound, you know, they're raising money. So you're going to have swimmers, a group of swimmers swimming from Port Jeff into Bridgeport. Well, you just can't have boaters free boating out there at that point because these people don't want to get run over. A prop can do a lot of damage. And what I mean is you become chump real quick. And that's what happens, you know. All right, now I don't think I need to use the lift to get this up. I think Darlene and I can pick it up because again, it's only 30 pounds. And I'm going to put it up on here. Because this has got a good set of casters on it. And then I can just work on it from here. So that's what we're going to do. Let me run out there real quick. I want to get those tie downs. I want to show you how we do that. How the professional that use Coastie. Oh, can I use Coastie? Can I use Coastie? I just assume that a kid uses it. They take better care of it. Now this is the reason why I don't use the words common sense. Because you don't use that word. Simple ties until they end up pulling it out by mistake. For instance, when you buy this new, now this one's even wrong, but when you buy these new, they usually come with these 2 ends like this and this. This is a problem. This isn't going to reach from there to over there. These must both go here. And I must tie this off over there. And then they realize, oh, wait a minute. If I push this down, this does move. Oh, okay. Probably somebody told them that because, again, they didn't know themselves. So what do? Oh, shit. Now what do I do? Well, you can make this work anyway, but any way you do it, you're going to have a little problem with it if you don't do it right. Either it's not going to want to tighten up, or it's going to be a pain in the ass to get off. Well, that's another problem, because it's something you have to think about. And if you've never done it, you know, the other person that knows can't assume that, oh, I know it. It's common sense. You must know it. Well, no. If they've never used it, they probably don't know it. And that's what happens. This one is done right. This one apparently had never come apart. So whoever used this one knew what they were doing. See if this one's right. Yes, this one's also right. Okay. So that other one we know was wrong. Because like I said, if you have it on there wrong, you may be able to get it tight. You're not going to get it as tight as it should be, but you're going to get it tight. And you're going to end up tying knots around it to make it tighter. What about this one? Oh, is this one right or wrong? This one's here is right. Okay. Well, that's right. I remember this one because this one was one that had two up here, and it came off. So I put this back on, so I know this one's right. I mean, not that I know everything, but if I don't, I'm going to learn. I'm not going to take anybody's word for it unless it makes sense at the time. And I don't have time to look it up. Now this would be a challenge to some of them because they're going to either want to just stick it in here, which it would work, but it's not going to hold very well, or they're going to stick it in the back way. And we got either way, it'll hold, but when you go to tighten it, you're not going to get it right. Yeah, so that's the problem. You got to bring it up and then underneath. Now I had guys try this as well, because this is the way you want it. I've had guys do this and try to get the hook through here instead of bringing this end through. So now they got the hook and they're trying to get the hook up in there and top. Well, it doesn't fit. Now, the thing is, they have training. The auxiliarists have a lot of training. But you have to be able to kind of understand it, one. Two, you have to come. Now, do you need the training? Well, there's some that you have to have. But there's others that don't need. And the ones that you have to have, you can do online. But if you want to become crew certified, or you want to become a marine inspector, you want to become a vessel examiner, you want to become an instructor, you have to take certain training. You can't do these things if you don't know.